Reaching out from beyond the grave with stories to give you the chills. The Cool Ghoul on 66.6 Dead Air Radio. Tonight's story is full of creepy crawlers, so burrow in like a tick and get comfy. Ugh. Blech. This place is really going to hell. Oh, hey there, groovy ghoulies. It's your abominable announcer, the Cool Ghoul. We've got a nice little morality tale for you tonight. Normally, I'm against such things. I'm more of an immoral type of guy. This story has blood and guts. Alright, caller 13, you're on the air.
Charlie was a weirdo, the terror of Dog River Middle School and a grade A creep. His classmates nicknamed him Gnarly Charlie. He was short and round with a freckled pit bull face and a bite me baseball cap that kept his mop of oily red hair in check. A perpetual shit. He'd pick his nose and wipe boogers on anyone he could outrun and scratched his ass so much that teachers made him wash his hands twice as long as the other kids. If he used the computer, the librarian sprayed the keyboard with disinfectant, swearing you could see dirt on the keys. Gnarly Charlie's foul disposition and hygiene issues kept kids and teachers at a distance. He didn't have many friends. He'd throw rocks at horses and chase cats and dogs with sticks, but insects were his favorite, collecting them in his plastic jar during lunch. They're for science. I'm an entomologist, someone who studies bugs. And he'd pull out his container of pinned insects. Below each one, he'd written names that referenced sex acts, swear words, or teachers and classmates, sometimes all at once. Insect collectors freeze their bugs for a week or two before pinning them to a board, but not Charlie. He pinned them fresh. He also pulled their legs off. It was his favorite part, especially if the bug could fly. They'd buzz around his desk, bouncing like jumping beans. He loved it. A teacher once asked him, "How would you like it if someone ripped your arms and legs off?" "They're bugs. Who cares?" he said, plucking the legs from a beetle he found. On a Friday night in late June, the weatherman announced a meteor shower. "This is the big one, folks. Once in a lifetime. It'll put the Perseids to shame." It was all anyone could talk about, except for Charlie. He couldn't give two shits. There was a knock at his door. His parents stepped in and exchanged concerned looks. Their son lay on the floor, holding a spider by its legs with a pair of tweezers, library books on arachnids spread in front of him. "Hey kiddo, your mom and I are going to a meteor viewing party. How about you join us?" "No thanks." He stretched two of the spider's legs, the others curling and uncurling until, pop, one leg came off. His dad winced. Charlie stretched another leg. Pop! "I know you're interested in bugs, but don't torture the poor things. How would you like it if someone pulled your legs off?" "Okay," he said, ignoring his dad. Pop! His parents shook their heads, unsure of what to do about their child's obsession with de-legging any insect he found. "Don't be up too late, kiddo." "Okay." Pop! And they left. By the time the meteor shower started, Charlie was pinning his pile of insects to a board. He kicked his legs in the air, thinking of all the crude names he'd write when his bedroom lights flickered. A low rumble, like a plane taking off, shook the house. Books fell from the shelves, and boards of pinned legless insects dropped off the wall. shattering on the ground. A pulsing light of purple and blue entered through the window, filling the room. Charlie watched the meteor fly over his house and into the woods and crash. Forgetting his bugs, he grabbed a flashlight, slipped on a pair of flip-flops, and ran out his back door towards the forest. Now he was interested in the meteor shower. A meteor! A real-life meteor right here in my backyard! He pushed his way through the undergrowth, following the trail of smoke from the crash site. Still, a speck of purple and blue light in the distance. The smell of burnt vegetation stung his nose. He went deeper into the forest, and the trees grew thicker. Pine needles scratched his hands and face as he forced his way through the tree boughs. The scent grew stronger, the light bigger, and a low, rhythmic hum filled the forest and drowned all other sounds out. He squeezed through the last row of trees, whose sparse black branches reminded him more of thick hair than the boughs of a tree, and stepped onto the crash site. Instead of a meteor, a massive disc sat atop uprooted trees. The humming engine burned the ground beneath the craft black. Colors pulsed across the edge of the disc. A trail of dotted lights fed towards the bubbled canopy which topped the craft. A sense of dread replaced curiosity. This was a UFO. He'd seen them in movies and books. UFOs meant aliens, and aliens were rarely nice to humans on TV. The trees surrounding Charlie uprooted themselves and stepped towards him. One swung forward, snatching him with 3 thick roots that squeezed his body. The tree raised him high into the air. These weren't trees, but legs. Strange. Charlie saw himself reflected in the night sky, but it wasn't the sky. He was looking into a large, black eye. The reflective eye sat nestled in the center of a hard, carapaced head. 5 smaller eyes blinked and swiveled in pockets of spongy skin, surrounding the larger eye in a horseshoe pattern. The creature turned him over, examining him. Its pedipalps rubbed together with a curious, Despite their size, the fingers were nimble. They poked and prodded him, flipping him from one hand to the other. Satisfied, the alien gripped Charlie about the waist. With the other hand, it held his wrist and raised his arm. Hot pain engulfed his shoulder and traveled through his chest. His ears filled with the sound of flesh being torn. A sudden pop, and his arm was gone. The alien held the limb to its face. Its smaller eyes twitched and blinked inside their fleshy pockets. It flung the arm into the woods. It turned Charlie over and clawed fingers gripped his leg and pulled. Searing pain, and then pop, pop, one by one. It tore off his legs and flung into the distance. Charlie's body ached with the phantom pains of limbs that were no longer there. His world was a dreamy kaleidoscope of colors that swirled and blurred together with the pulse of the spaceship's lights. He felt nauseous. He'd lost a lot of blood. The trees shifted and cracked, and a second, larger alien emerged from the darkness. 4 long, mottled legs stepped over the downed trees while 2 front legs preened the enormous head that peeked out from a heart-shaped shell. The large black eye settled on the near limbless Charlie, and, with a disapproving grunt, it slapped the back of the smaller alien's head. From between its pedipalps in perfect English, it said, "How would you like it if someone pulled your arms and legs off?" The smaller alien grumbled something to itself, yanked Charlie's last arm off with a pop, and flung the limb into the woods. It dropped him onto the ground, and the aliens shambled towards the spacecraft. The bigger one reached into its purse and produced a small remote. With the press of a button, the aliens shrank to the size of his parents' minivan and boarded the ship. The engines flared, and in a flash of light, the spaceship was gone, leaving a bright, fading beam of light leading into space. Charlie lay on the cold forest floor, a wriggling torso with a head. He watched the extraterrestrial light fade from the night sky. Karma is a bitch.
Ugh. Thanks for calling. Sounds like Charlie got its just desserts at the hands of an angry arthropod. The real crime is the alien throwing away a good pair of arms and legs. Everyone knows the drumsticks and wings are the best part. Ugh. Oh. Those weren't your kids, were they?